for those of you dropping by today. I'm on week 6 for my Fun Fold series. I think it's going along pretty well. Last week I showed you what was called a buckle card, and this was the one I did with the little rooster, not a chicken. I certainly learned my lesson about that one. And this was a little bit of a different format for a typical buckle card. It kind of pulled out like that with some lovely DSP inside. Today I'm going to show you more what I think is the original. This was the first buckle card that I ever saw. This is it here. And you simply pull this bit out of, this is the buckle. You see, you pull that out of the loop and then open it up to reveal your inside. So it's a little bit of a different take, or I think this was more of the original buckle card. So I'm going to show you how to make this. The stamp set we're using is this To a Wild Rose, and to be honest with you, I purchased it quite a while ago when the annual catalog first came out, and I haven't used it yet. Honestly, you know, the annual catalog comes out 1st of June, and before you know it, we're into the holiday season, and so that's a lot of where my efforts have been going. But there's so many beautiful stamp sets in our annual catalog. I hope some of you took advantage of the big 24-hour sale that went on recently. So we're going to use this To a Wild Rose, and I'm going to show you how I figured out how to stamp these 3 images one on top of another. I'm going to show you how I marked up my stamps to make it easier for you. And it's got some really lovely framelits in here. I love this, haven't used it yet, but it's got this filigree flower, a lovely label piece that you can use. And then we're actually going to be using this framelit to cut out the flower. I'm using these 2 leaf framelits. I've already done those. I'm using garden green, so I stamped the garden green out. Notice the leaf is also a 3-step stamp, but I chose just to do the one with the outline, and then I cut it out, and then I cut out the little filigree one. And that's exactly what I did on this card. I did this in Pear Pizzazz. So we're going to do the exact same card, but we're just using a different color. So the color we're using is the Terracotta Tile, and I've cut this piece from the matching DSP. So I will go through the card measurements with you, although it will be posted on my blog as well. So you start with a card base that measures 4 1/4 by 8 3/4. And then your back layer, which creates the buckle, this one measures 3 by 8 1/2. Your piece of DSP measures 3 by 4. Then for the front of the card and the inside greeting, you need 2 pieces of Whisper White, and these measure 2 3/4 by 4. And then you have a back layer that goes inside to mount the buckle fold. You'll see that when we get to it. And this one measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So those are all of the pieces that you need. Now you do have a little bit of scoring to do. So for convenience, I'm just going to pull out, I have a small score buddy here. It would be great if Stampin' Up! Came with a version, because I use this one quite a bit rather than pulling out my big one. So on the cardstock, the basic the card base, sorry, we're going to score this at 5 1/2 on the long side. So at 5 1/2 here, you're going to score it. Fold it back away from the valley onto the mountain, and that becomes the base of your card. And then the image layer, this is 8 1/2 inch long, and you're going to score this at 4 1/4 right here. And fold that. Okay, so that's all the scoring that you need to do for this project. So the very first thing we can start to do, let me get my bone folder. I really do like to burnish my folds to make them lie a little bit more flat. So let's put in our DSP piece on the front of this card. So we'll put this on here. You could layer another piece underneath it so that it shows a little better. Maybe a piece of white underneath it would be nice. So we'll put that on. Now, to make the actual buckle, what you're going to do now, you have to put the DSP on first, and then you're going to take your this punch. This is the Classic Label punch. This is a great punch for all of your small greetings, but it also makes holes in things. So very often you see demonstrators use this when they create gift card holders, but it's also great for this card. So what you want to do is take this front flap. I like to turn my punch over, and I'm going to push it in as far as it will go. That makes it easy. Push it in as far as it will go. And then you're going to line up the very left edge of the punch to the DSP that's on there. So line that up and give it a punch. Then go to the opposite side and again line the edge of the punch with the DSP. Make sure it's down as far as it will go in the punch, and then punch again. So you see you end up with a slot. So that is ready to go for your card. Now let's do some decorating. Let's concentrate on the flower. So I'm going to pull out a piece of Whisper White. Now these are photopolymer stamps, so you want to make sure that you either use you can use your silicone mat, or you can use your foam mat to stamp on for your photopolymer. Now let me show you what I did with the stamps. So I took the 3 stamps out. Let me just take them off the block so I can show you. And I might zoom in here so that you can see this a little bit closer. Let's put that out of the way and out of the way. Okay. So what I did with them is that I lined them up so that I could see the edges, and I'm trying to line them up and find the very similar petal on all 3 of them. So you'll notice that this has a nice curve, this has a nice curve, this has a nice curve. So that means that when you stamp the images on top of each other, that is where you're going to orient them. And then what I did was on the reverse, not on the stamped part, but on the flat side, I just took a Sharpie marker and I put a little dot. You see that on all 3 of them. And that tells me where to line them up. So let me just, and I mount them on my stamps in the same direction. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So hopefully this tip, I do this with a lot of my triple time or double time stamp sets, and put that on like that. Okay, so let me just zoom you back out, sorry. Zoom you back out. Okay, so now when you create this this flower here, it's different strengths. So let's pull out our terracotta tile ink, and I like to stamp the solid image first. So this is going to be full strength, like that. Then I'm going to stamp the background, the lightest shading. So what I want to do is let me just grab a piece of scrap paper here. What I want to do is stamp it off a couple of times. Okay. Then I'm going to stamp it. So I find that dot and I'm going to stamp it right on top. So if you hover the stamp over, and sorry, you may have to twist it a bit to line it up. Okay. And then for the third one, I'm going to ink it up and just stamp it off once. So you're getting a gradation of color from dark to light. Let's stamp it off once and then pull in my card. Again, lining up that petal. So I hover quite close to the stamp. May have to twist it a little bit and then stamp. And there you have the flower. I think it's just stunning, 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 stunning. So I am going to next cut that out with the framelit, and I will go over to my Big Shot to do that. And again, the framelit was pretty easy to line up because I was now so used to that curve, and so it fits on there perfectly. So I'm going to run over to my Big Shot. Here we go. Here's our flower. Now, let's assemble the card and then we'll come back to this and I'll show you what I did with that. So what we want to do now is to work on our inside flap. And I'm going to pause the video for a second. I hear my hubby coming in. Okay, I'm back. I said hello to my husband. He's just gotten home from work. It's Friday night, his favorite night of the week. And I haven't even started dinner yet. So I better get going with this video. So this back flap here that you've got in here, you could just put that inside, but I wanted a bit of a contrasting color in there. And so that's this piece that I've cut here, the larger of the three white pieces that you cut out. And so I'm going to, now make sure you reverse this card to be this way because you're going to open it this way. So I'm going to glue this onto here with some tape. So we're going to take our card base here, and what I want to do is make sure that before I stick it down that it's going to go through that buckle, which it does. So I sort of hover it with it in the buckle, and then I try and center it onto the card like that. And then I can, oh, no, 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 what am I doing? What am I doing? Stop. I have to put this on here first. So, yes, I digressed. Okay, that's good now. Okay, so it's when you put this piece down onto the card base that you want to feed it through the buckle, okay? So we'll do this. Same thing now. Thread this through like that. And now position it on your card. Make sure it's even on each side of the hole here. And now you can press it down. Okay, now on this one I put a little bit of a leaf in here, and then I just did a simple hello, and then you're going to, this is pretty well plain, and then we're going to put our flower on. So what we'll do next is we'll take one of these two pieces, and I'm going to stamp the little leaf on there. So the leaf again comes as 3 stamps for layering, and this one, because it has a shape that you could identify more easily, you don't have to do the little dot thing. So I'm going to do, and I only did 2 on the last one. So I'm going to use Garden Green this time. Sorry, I have to move my camera to grab my Garden Green out. And we will stamp the shadow first. So for the shadow, I want this quite light. So I'm going to stamp this off a couple of times. And then I'm going to stamp this in the top corner like that. Ooh, that got quite stuck. And then I'm going to take the solid leaf part. Now, on this one, I actually didn't do the solid leaf one. I did the middle one. So maybe we'll just do the same thing. So this one, I think I'm going to stamp off. Actually, that won't show up very well. So let's do this one this time. We'll do this one full strength. Sorry, I'm going to get my head right over this so I can see what I'm doing. It's hard to see. There we go. Voila. And I want to do my little hello, and I'm going to do this in the terracotta tile ink. Simple little hello. You could do any greeting you want. Hello. And now we will adhere this inside the card like that. Look how pretty that is. I always love a little accent on the inside of my cards with the greeting. Okay, now next step is to take the last piece of Whisper White, and you're now going to put your flower on. So let's build up our flower. I'll show you what I did with the flower. First of all, I turned it over and I put some dimensionals on here. And then I'm going to show you how I wrap some of our fine metallic threads on here. So let's take our dimensionals off. How many of you find these dimensionals all over your house? I mean, I'm not kidding you. They are everywhere in my house. I guess they get stuck to my clothes. All right, so this is our gold thread. I think we have a number of different colors. I think we have a copper and a silver as well. And it can be a bit challenging to work with because it's so fine. But what I basically do is I find the end and lay it across the palm of my hand. And then I wrap it around several times. like that. And then I take it off my hand and I pinch it in the middle like that. If I can get it over the hump of my poor finger, my arthritic knuckle. So sad that that's happening to me. And I'm going to snip that off. And then I'm going to glue this on top of that center. Whoa, they're sticky. Over the center, and try and make sure it's sticking out from both sides. See, it's tricky to work with, you guys. Put it over that center band there. That's okay like that. And you've got enough stickiness and dimensions to get that to work. Now, the key thing before you stick this down on here, the key thing is we're going to put this on the card and feed it through the buckle, because you don't want it to have some interference with that closure. So let's glue this on to the front panel. Like so. And then we'll feed it through. Oh, another step before you go. You want to bend this a little bit. You want to give this a bit of a curl. So I like to use my bone folder, and we're just going to curl this. And try and curl it from both sides. I'm going to give it a bit of a curl. Just makes feeding it into the buckle a lot easier. So let's feed this through. Oh no, what am I doing? It goes this way. There we go. It goes this way. All right, and now you know where the buckle is. And so you can sort of pull and arrange your little threads where you want them. I should have made it a little bit longer. When you want a wider piece, then go further up on the palm of your hand when you're threading it around. So let's put this on like that. And then I already did these leaves. And so you want to position these so that they don't interfere with the buckle again. So I'll just put a little bit of glue on here. And we'll position this underneath, like so. And then this one, we'll put a bit of glue, and we'll position this under here. You could even overlap it. That's kind of cool. Let's just overlap that and see. And there you have it. You have your card. And if you wanted to add, I added a couple of sequins on this one here. So you could add something on here. You could add a bit of Wink of Stella to give it some shine if you wanted to. And there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions. And if you'd like to get notified when I do a blog post, you can go on over to my blog at frommetoupapercrafts.blogspot.ca, and you can subscribe to my blog. You can also find in the YouTube description below, you will find a link, direct link to this particular blog post, as well as links to my other social media places. So thank you again for spending time with me today. Go make a card, and if you'd like to post a photo, I'd love to see it. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.